This is We Have a Problem podcast. I'm Charles Hall, and this is Diamond Hall. This podcast was built for leadership conversations and problem solving, building for the betterment, life aspects, and today we would like to dive into the topic managing versus multiplying. Have you ever been a part of a team or an organization and you felt stuck? You felt like you can get more out of the moment, you feel like you can get more out of the project, but there are things that were holding you up or hindering the progression of what you were trying to accomplish. Today, we would like to talk about this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. And to that end, and with your permission, let's begin and let's build.
Are you okay that if they reach what you see for them, that doesn't take away from you?
It
That's good.
I
That would only open up further doors for you. Like you never work yourself out of an opportunity because you've opened up doors for other people. I love that. I think that's super profound and something that needs to be talked about more. Is that contentment with you as an individual and being okay with opening up doors for other people? Because oftentimes we're scared that it's gonna take away from what we have.
So when you kill a giant, you become one. So how do you tame it and maintain it at the same time? Like, how do I keep the killer instinct without killing people? For me, it starts with self awareness.
Wow.
For me, it starts with how do I reel it in at the same time help people become the real version of themselves? Like, how can I do both? It's not oxymoronic. That's why it says humble yourself.
Yeah.
It says humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. It never says to ask God to humble you. It says humble yourself. So I am having the hard conversations. Charles, I don't like that. Charles, we need to adjust that. Like, why did you say that? What made you feel like that was okay? So that self-awareness starts with, Charles, you have to care for people in such a way that you see them beyond where they are and you're going to celebrate and be okay with where they're going. How can I help them not just manage moments, but help them multiply and stretch? How can I get them from showing up and producing in their ability
Mm-hmm.
and then having them stretch out in their capacity? Like, over time, you should be able to handle more. How am I instilling what I have with the resources that I do have so I can see this person, so I can see this individual, I can see this team beyond where they are? That's multiplying. It's multiplying at its finest. And for me, it starts with that self-awareness. It's like, Charles, are you okay with this being successful? It's almost like the Rhoda idea of the miracle knocking on the door and you close the door
Yeah.
in disbelief. I do not want to invest in time and wisdom only to see the miracle take place and me close the door in disbelief or in shock.
So no matter what conversation we have that's around leadership, somehow it always comes back to that question of what is your inner dialogue? Like that's crazy to me. So even if we're talking about trying to multiply your team and the individual, it starts with you. And what are
That's
you
really
telling
good.
yourself?
That's really
Are
good.
you okay that if this thing is successful and you don't equate that with is my team multiplying or if I'm just being a manager, you don't equate that with inner dialogue, but it really starts with that question. Am I okay if they grow and if they become the better version of themselves? I think that's crazy. That's crazy. I can't get past that. I think for some who are watching, it's gonna cause them to have that conversation with themselves. Like, am I really the bottleneck to this organization or to this team? And perhaps that's why we're not multiplying and people aren't growing to the best versions of themselves. We're just kind of managing the project. I haven't stopped and had that conversation with myself on am I really okay if everyone around me is at the best version of themselves?
So it's like, okay, self-awareness. Let's first have the conversation with ourselves. and then the assessment. Let's have the conversation with the team. What do we need to do that's different? I don't always see multiplying in metrics. Sometimes I
Mm.
see the end goal because the Bible says, I have appointed you to produce fruit that remains. You can grow in numbers in a team, but are you investing in something that will pay in dividends? Will it remain? Not just to produce fruit,
Wow.
but he's appointed us to produce fruit that remains. So is my investment just to grow in metrics?
Mhm.
That's a portion of it. That's not the totality of the conversation. I am investing with the intent that this fruit will remain, that it will continue to multiply. That's the difference between managing and multiplying, because you can manage a team of 500,
Mhm.
but you can multiply a team of 200 that will outlive this current team of 500. You may not see the fruit instantly, but over time, you'll have people going and doing this based on what you invest in. You have people in this industry doing that based on what you've invested. I'm not trying to be counterproductive in what I'm sharing. What I'm saying is, when you're intentional with investing, sometimes you have to think end goal.
Okay.
You have to think, hey, this is something that I'm investing that will remain beyond this moment. I definitely want the 500.
Yeah.
If I'm honest with you, I want the 500.
Absolutely.
I want the team of 500. We can get more done. But I've learned that it's not just about the big group. It's about making big investments. It's about being intentional and not just managing 500. You can multiply the 500 and get more, but I would prefer to have something that's more condensed
Mhm.
with a institutionalized scenario or systems
Mhm.
that are strategic for building versus a big crowd with no core that can sustain the moment,
Absolutely.
that can add substance and sustenance beyond the moment. That's the difference between managing and multiplying. I have to be intentional as a leader. What does this person have to offer, and how can I help them to produce at another level of output based on where they're going?
As you're assessing, the question that you're asking for each individual on your team is, what keys do I need to unlock the door for their future? Because although all of those doors are different and you may need different keys for each one.
I love
For
that.
some, it may be empathy or compassion. They need to feel heard. Some, it may be more metrics, but how do you get them to see the bigger picture themselves? Because sometimes we're so locked in onto what our role is, even as just someone who's an individual on a team, that we don't understand the bigger picture.
Babe, what you said is really great. And from my experience, I've learned that when people have seen your track record and when you have produced and you have fruit or you have something to bring to the table and you handle them well while they're at the table, more than likely you can create scenarios where buy in helps them see the bigger picture.
Mm.
It's that relational equity. If I put enough investment inside of this account, it accounts for the necessary conversations along the way and the sharpening. It accounts for, the fun times and the smiles and the laughs and having that rhythm of relational equity because of the input. When it's time for this individual or the team to produce output, their psyche and their heart is going to say, well, this has been invested. Like, it's just creating buy-in. It's working the relational equity, um, and seeing that as an investment and caring about the individual and how they see things. It's it's understanding it's understanding the personalities and what makes individuals and teams go and what makes them grow.
You're
Yeah.
saying care more about the person than the project. Uh,
Yeah. It's just person first then project. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a great time. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we will catch you on the next one.